Like, why not? Why not just do a funky eyeshadow makeup look? Alright everybody, let's get started now for today's video. I'm just going to put the picture on the screen right now because today's look is gonna be very funky. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. I'm not sure if I even like this look. I spent so much time this morning trying to like draw this sketch. I kid you not, I think I spent like an hour trying to figure this look out. So I just needed to stop.
Stop it. Get some help. And
just apply the makeup on my face. So I'm going to cross my fingers that it's going to turn out and look pretty. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So let's get started. By the way, Freck skincare is just mind-blowing. Just a quick parenthesis, just a quick tangent. I've been obsessed with their moisturizer. I've been obsessed with their serum, with their toner. Their cactus water toner has made my skin so smooth and so perfect. Honestly, everything I tried so far from Freck Beauty skincare wise, I've been loving it. They do send me most of the products for free, but I did repurchase the toner because it was just so good, and when I stopped using it, my skin was not looking as good, so I definitely feel like that toner has something to do with it. But yeah, just a quick parenthesis while I was applying this lip balm. This lip balm is also quite nice. It's very lightweight, very hydrating. So I already moisturized my skin. Now I'm going to be priming my lids. I'm going to be using the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Oh, I wanted to do my nails. God damn it. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So I'm going to be priming using the MAC Prolongwear Paint Pot, and I'm going to be priming my lid. And I'm just going to be dabbing that all over my lid. And I'm really making sure to prime from my very inner corner to the outer corner. So for this look, I'm mainly going to be using the Oden's Eye Hela palette. This palette is perfect for greens. I really wanted to have a forest green shade, and this one right here is just perfect. Going into my palettes, I also saw the ColourPop and Raw Beauty Kristi palette, which would be perfect for this makeup look. But in general, I do prefer Oden's Eye eyeshadows. If you love colorful eyeshadows, Oden's Eye are just amazing because it's pigmented, it's buildable, and the colors are very bright. So yes, I'm going to be reaching for this one. And I'm just going to start with a kind of compact but still fluffy brush. And I'll be taking the shade Moss, and I'm going to use that to get the shape that I want. So I'm going to be packing this on the very upper outer corner, and I'm going to be dragging it towards my inner corners. As you can see, I am keeping that shade very compact right now. I'm not really worrying about blending it out. For my inner corner, I feel like I need a more precise brush, so I'm just going to take a angled brush and just pack that shade in my inner crease. But I'm not going to make it connect to my inner corners. And now I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and I'm just going to smoke the edges a little. And also, if you're having difficulty blending the edges, you could always take a skin-toned shade just to facilitate the blending. But I'm not having any difficulties because these eyeshadows are just perfect. So I'm pretty happy with what I have right now. So I'm going to be taking now my angled brush with the shade Uroboro. Uroboro, not sure how to say that in English, but it's the deep green shade from that palette, and I'm going to be applying this shade at the same place we applied the light green, but more tightly, so it's not going to be as diffused. And this is going to create a gradient effect from the dark green to the light green. I wouldn't really recommend an angled brush. If you have something like a very small packing brush, you could use that, but I don't right now. I need to clean my brushes, so this angled brush will have to do. And I'm going to go back in with that fluffy brush and a little bit more of that light green shade and just blend the edges of that dark green. I'm not sure why, but I'm seeing some patchiness right here. Usually I never have problems with Oden's Eye eyeshadow, but like right now I'm seeing some patchiness. But anyways, I am going to be removing that inner part of the eyeshadow. I'm going to clean it up after, so I don't really mind having some patchiness there. I really want to make sure that I have the perfect blend. And now here comes the fun part. So I'm going to be taking a Q-tip. I'm going to remove some of the swab from the Q-tip just so that it's a bit more precise. And I'm going to be taking some micellar water. This is the NYX micellar water. You can use any micellar water or makeup remover. It's very important that you remove the excess micellar water on the back of the hand, because if you don't do that, all the excess water will just drip all over your face and you don't want that. And now I'm going to create that negative teardrop shape right into this eyeshadow. And I'm going to create a line from that teardrop to my inner corner. And don't worry about this step because you don't have to be too precise or remove too much eyeshadow, because we can always clean it up even more with some concealer after. And yeah, I think I'm going to be doing that for my inner crease because I do want my inner crease to be very small and a very small line, and I'm not sure I can have that precision with this Q-tip, so I'm just going to be using a angled brush with some concealer for my inner corners. And to do that, I would recommend you to use a high coverage concealer because you want something that's going to be able to cover up that green eyeshadow. For example, I know the MAC Pro Longwear concealer has a ton of coverage. I used to use that concealer every day of my life. It's really good. I also really like the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I've been really enjoying the Benefit Boing concealer. I still have some left. It's almost empty, but I'm going to try and use some of that to clean my eyeshadow up. And at the same time, I'm going to apply some concealer where we removed the eyeshadow. And initially, I wanted the line in my inner corner to finish as a point, but right now it's finishing very wide. So what I'm thinking of doing, I'm just going to go on top and create a V with a angled brush and the light green shade. And with that dark green shade, using a very detailed brush, I'm going to be even more precise and closer to the line and just close it up even more. I just want to clean up that green shade on my outer corner because I don't want too much eyeshadow near the outer corner of my eye. So using a Q-tip, I'm just going to clean that up. For this next step, I wasn't sure how to proceed. I was thinking about maybe mixing the blue and the green liquid eyeshadow from About Face to create that very nice dark green shade. But I also have the ColourPop and Raw Beauty Kristi eyeliner, which is already like a really nice forest green shade. But I'm going to admit that this isn't super precise and it is dry. So I don't think I trust it for this next step, but these can get very patchy if you're not careful, so I'm very scared. I think I'm just going to start by mixing both of these shades just to see if I can achieve that color, and if I can, then I'm going to be using the liner. So I'm going to start with the light green shade. I'm just going to apply some of that on the back of my hand. I'm going to do a good amount because I don't want to have to remix this eyeshadow, just to make sure that the color is consistent. And whenever mixing colors, darker colors overtake the lighter colors really easily, so I would recommend you starting with the light green shade and then adding the blue in a little at a time. So I'm just going to start and mix the blue into the green. So it's already turning into a deeper green shade. I'll just add a bit more blue. Okay, so I'm getting there slowly but surely. I'll do another round of blue. That shade is looking really promising. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. So I think I'm going to go for this. And I'm going to cross my fingers that it's going to look good. I'm going to take that green shade with a very precise brush. This is a Lavish brush. So now we're going to be doing a couple of lines. The first line is going to go from the point in our inner corner that we just created with the eyeshadow, and it's going to go down and back up into a curve towards my inner corner. The second line is going to go right under the two negative space in our crease. So it's kind of just going to connect both but underneath the shape. And the third line is going to go from the outer corner to the inner corner, going under the eye. And more specifically, it's going to start from under the teardrop shape to a little line under my tear duct. Okay, when in doubt, use a Q-tip and micellar water and everything should go well. I'm just going to make the line a little bit more thin by cleaning it up. Okay, so now that the line is a little bit smaller, I think I need to trust the process. I'm just going to take some more concealer with a even smaller brush. I'm just going to clean up certain areas. For example, this line right here, I want to make it brighter. I want to clean up that line underneath. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it like that for the time being. I just intensified the green around the concealer in my inner corner, and I also thinned the line underneath my eye just because I felt like it was just too intense. And I think I like it. It's a very interesting look, but I think I like it. Just to give some dimension to this makeup look, I'm going to be taking the Oden's Eye Soulman Moonlight Feel Highlighter in the shade Moon Talk, which is a very intense, like, duochrome, shifty green shade. I think it'll look really nice with this makeup look. I'm going to take the same detailed brush that's now kind of clean, and I'm going to apply it in the center of my lid, but very specifically under the dark green line. Okay, so now I'm going to apply the mascara. I'm going to be taking the About Face mascara. I would curl my lashes, but it's far. I didn't bring it with me, so I'll just have to deal with no curling my lashes. And I'm going to apply false lashes anyways, because since my last video, I discovered that applying false lashes, well, actually I forgot, because I used to apply false lashes very often, but I rediscovered that applying false lashes really takes a makeup look to a whole other level. For my false lashes, I think I want to go for something like this. Nothing too intense on the outer corner, but just enough to give some volume to my lashes. This is the Ardell Professional Fauxmink lashes. I'm going to be taking the style 817. I probably will have to cut them. So now I'm just going to apply some duo glue. Just going to wait for the lash glue to dry a little bit. You should never apply the glue when it's fully wet, because it's not going to stick on your eye and it's just going to be a very big mess. You want to wait for it to get like very tacky, but not too dry, because if it's too dry, it's just not going to stick. So you really just have to have the perfect in between. All right, so here we go. I actually had to remove this lash and cut even more because it was just poking in my inner corners. But like eyelashes, they make every eyeshadow look pretty. I'm obsessed. And I didn't want to go for a too intense lash just because I want the main focus to be this very crazy looking eyeshadow. But yeah, so I'm just going to do the other eye off camera really quickly and I'll be right back. These are not symmetrical, but whatever. I spent too much time on this. Alright, so now let's start working on the complexion. My skin is already moisturized, but I really wanted to try this. This seems to be so intense. This is a primer. This is the Morning Dew primer from Kubo Beauty. They did send this to me for free. And this is made with God damn it, this word. Hyaluronic acid and jojoba oil. So this should be very hydrating. And as you can see, like, this has shine. Like, this looks pink and it looks very shiny. So let's try it. Oh God. Whoa. Oh my God. I'm so surprised. I thought that this would be pink. I really thought that this would have the same color as the bottle, but this is actually the color of the packaging. I really thought that this was clear, but it's actually the pink pearly shade. This is freaking orange, what the heck? Okay, let me just dab some of that all over my face. Brush this into my face. I look so dewy right now. This is a thick, oily primer. I've never tried something with this type of texture before. This is like a really thick, hydrating oil. It feels super heavy, but kind of in the really nice way. I feel like this will definitely be very hydrating. If you have oily skin, maybe not the best primer for you, but if you have super dry skin, I love it. I really like it so far, but let's see how foundation applies on top. For my foundation, I really want to retry this. This is the Dermablend Flawless Creator Liquid Foundation Drop. I believe this is a little bit too late for me, but don't worry, I'll make it work. And the first time I tried this, I remember not like being super impressed by it because I really thought that this would be super high coverage, but this is actually a very lightweight from what I remember. It's a very lightweight. Like, I like this, but I was just very disappointed the first time I tried it. So I'm just going to do a few drops on the back of my hand. Houston, this is not working. The dropper does not want to pick up any foundation. I think it's because it's too thick. Like, this is a really thick foundation in it. I'm not sure why they decided to put this in the dropper packaging. Okay, here we are. I'm just going to dab that all over my face. And I'm going to blend this using my Rare Beauty foundation brush. I'm just going to use my sponge to absorb the excess foundation. For my bronzer, I'm going to be taking the Tower 28 bronzer in the shade West Coast. Just because right now my skin is super dewy and fresh, this bronzer is going to enhance that dewiness and that freshness. This bronzer is kind of golden, so it is going to make your skin a very like luminous. I'm just going to warm up the product with my finger, and I'm going to apply some on the back of my hand, and I'm going to pick it up with a duo fiber brush and just dab that in the holes of my cheeks. For my concealer, I'm just going to be using the Yves Rocher concealer in the shade Rosée 50. I'm going to apply some of that on my under eye. I'm also going to take some right here on top of my cheekbones just to give a very lifted effect. And with my Rare Beauty foundation brush, I'm going to buff this into my skin. I really want to do an intense coral orange blush moment that's going to blend into the green of our eyes. So it's going to be a very intense. And I'm going to go into my Likely Makeup Fairy Blush Palette. This blush palette is beautiful. These colors are very bright, but they're very buildable. Like, they're not super pigmented, so that if you want a very nice subtle flush of color on the cheeks, you can just apply a little bit. Or if you want to do a very intense color, you can pack it on and it's very easy to build. Of course, these are not very classic blush colors, but for like everyday basis, this coral shade is just beautiful. I'm going to take some of that blush with a fluffy brush, and I'm going to be very generous with this. I'm going to pack that on top of my cheeks right here. And now with a smaller brush and the Benefit Krista blush, it's a very bright orange blush, I'm going to pick a lot of that shade up. Well, actually, I'm going to dust off the excess because that's a lot. And I'm just going to place that very closely to the eyeshadow. And with a smaller brush, I'm just going to blend some of that near my brow bone. So as you can see, I went pretty heavy with the blush. And now for my highlight, I'm going to be taking the same highlight I used on my lids, which is the Solman Moonlight highlighter from Odin's Eye in the shade Moon Talk. I'm going to grab that with my Rare Beauty highlight brush, and I'm going to pinpoint the very high points of my cheeks. Here we go. So now I'm just going to fill in my brows. I'll be using the Precise in My Brow pencil in the shade 3, and I'm going to make them fluffy and set them in place using the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit. So now I'm going to be working on my lips. I'm going to be taking the Lip Contour Rouge Elixir from Yves Rocher in the shade number 1. And I'm just going to line my lips with this. And for my lip shade, I think this will look good, I hope. This is the M Cosmetics Soft Spoken Lipstick in the shade Petal. And I just want to add a little bit of gloss. So I'm going to be taking the M Cosmetics Everglass Lip Dew in the shade Lullaby. All right, everyone, so here we have it. This is the finished look, and let me say I kind of really like it. It's very different. It's very funky. This is in like the type of makeup look that I used to do all the time, and I really want to start doing them more often because they're so fun to do and they're so not conventional, but like, why not? Why not just do a funky eyeshadow makeup look? But yeah, so that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.